Hello, guys. A very good morning to all of you. So, my name is Shivabrata Nayak, and today coming with a new topic of the plus two second year um, from the storybook. And the name of the topic is Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. So, the topic Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish is written by Steve Jobs. Uh, So when you look into this particular topic, and we are discussing this, so let me point out this is a very philosophical speech that Stephen Jobs or Steve Paul Jobs have made it when he went to Stanford University. I'm going to discuss this particular topic in English to English. I hope you all will like it. Fine. Let me take you to the topic. So, what do you mean by stay hungry, stay foolish? If you look into the title of the topic, so the meaning of stay hungry is called as not to settle, but to hungry for more knowledge. That's what the writer stated. Stay hungry means you should not feel that you learn a lot and you don't need to learn more. So that is why the author stated that you must be stay hungry. You should not stay content. Stay foolish. Again, at the same time, it is stated that once you feel like you learn a lot and you do not means, continue further and you stop learning, at that moment you turn yourself foolish or dumb. That's what the author stated, author's message towards the readers, that what not to settle yourself but to learn more and more and more, make yourself knowledgeable, and do not think that you have learnt a lot and do not stop learning. That's what is called as a meaning of stay hungry, stay foolish. Well, let me take you to the author. So Stephen Paul Jobs or Steve Jobs, who was born in the year of mm, 1955 to 2011. So he is an American businessman, designer, and inventor. So he is an American businessman, designer, and inventor who actually is best known as the co-founder, right? So and chairman and chief executive officer of Apple inclusive. So we know that Apple is one of the best manufacturing mobile and other technical gadgets like Macintosh and iPad, iPod. So he is the founder of that or co-founder of that, and he is the chairman of that. Right? He is one of the greatest visionaries. So when we talk about visionaries, it means called as a he sees the future, right? And based on that, he creates a remarkable product, or he develops one of the remarkable technological product that actually creates the revolutionary, right? So revolution across the world. A revolutionary who changed the way people experience technology today. So we find out the beauty and the um, you know easy to handle technology because of him. So through Apple, he has been widely recognized as a charismatic pioneer. We know that there are other companies or other manufacturing companies of the mobile phone and PC, personal computer, like Microsoft, right, Dell, HP. So like that, Apple is also means one of the renowned technical or called as a means um, you can say that technical gadgets, right, which is famous across the world, and he has been widely recognized as a charismatic pioneer. So the meaning of charismatic pioneer is called as a unique business leader. So charismatic is something called as a means magical and unique, and pioneer is called as a business leader of the personal computer revolution, and for his influential career in the computer and consumer electronics fields. So not only he is a means a greatest business leader of the personal computer, but for means his contribution to the computer and consumer electronics field is something called as a unique. Now, uh, if you look into this particular topic, where the author Steve Paul Jobs tries to give some, you know, give some ideas, give some suggestion uh, that he learned from his life, so which he discusses among the people or among the readers, right, uh, who present at that particular place that is called as a Stanford University. You could see a video recording from taken from YouTube is found at the right side. You could see that how he gave his speech on this. Okay, now coming to the topic, what is this topic is all about? This topic is reflecting or recollecting the memory of men's writers birth, brought up, and also writer's ups and downs. It means difficult situations which he faces in his childhood time, youngest time, and in his old age also. Now, he splits this topic, he separates this topic in three units, where in the first unit he discusses about its birth and brought up. In second unit, he discusses his love and lust, and in the third unit, he discusses his death. Now, while when we read this particular topic, we will find out lots of quotes are there. Those quotes are nothing but giving some kind of a lesson in our life. So let's all begin. Let's it begin. So I'm honored to be with you. The topic start from the first unit. It's called as I'm honored. So the author start his speech, where the author start his speech means at Stanford University, where uh, he wished to everyone that how he felt glad that he was there at the commencement day. So, what do you mean by commencement? The meaning of commencement is called as a graduation day, right? Where all the students of that college, Stanford College, are getting graduation, so or completion of their graduation. So, from one of the finest universities, so here the finest university is called as a Stanford University, right? So which is also one of the means, finest universities in the world, means topmost universities in the world. So the author stated he never graduated from college. So his first information towards the students is that he never graduated from college. So he never graduated from it from college means he never means complete his graduation from college, right? So truth be told, so he stated that whatever you were saying, all was means all are correct, and this is the closest he have ever gotten to a college graduation. If you look into it, so his speech is based on what actually. Now he wanted to point out he never graduated from college, but at the same time he came to a college where he gave his speech, right, to all those students who got his college graduation, or who all got their college graduation. So he pointed today means on that day he wanted to tell all the students or all the listeners, right, of his means of his listeners to three stories from his life. What are those three stories? So and he did not want to tell anything, only three stories he wanted to tell. So he begins from the first story. What is that? Now that is called as a connecting dots. So what do you mean by connecting dots? That is the first question. Because the author started by saying that the first story is about connecting dots. If I talk about this meaning of the connecting dots, right? So it means what? Link. So it's a technical term connecting the dots, but at the same time, it reflects to the author's life by saying that how we can make a link of our present with the past. That is what connecting the dots. So connecting means linking your present with the past. So, how did he talk about this connecting the dots? We can also say that the meaning of connecting the dots is called as a recollecting the past, is not it? So, we cannot remember or we cannot recollect the future, but we can recollect or remember the past, what we did in the past. So the author stated that he dropped out of Reed College. So let me point out the college, that name is called as a Reed, is nothing but again one of the finest college of the in the world, right? Like Stanford University. So he stated when he was studying at Reed College, he dropped out. He dropped out means he discontinued after studying for first 6 months, and means after dropping out or called as after means stopping from his college, right? So what he did now, but then stayed around. So stayed around is called as one of the phrasal verb, and the meaning of stayed around is called as means he stayed in the college. He quit or he means he did not join any of the class, right? Um, but his name was still there, right? So he studied only 6 months, and after that he discontinued as a drop in for another 18 months. So it means he was there in the college for the next 18 months, but he did not attend any class. He did not means get any interest from the college education. So he stated that he quitted or called it he left the college. But why did he left it or he dropped out from his college education? So he stated that his story started before he was born. It means it was something called as what do we say, that destined. It means something which was already decided. He stated it started before he was born. His biological mother means actual mother. His biological mother was a young, unwed college graduate student. It means his mother was a young one and she was studying in a college, right? And she decided to put me up for adoption. Put me up for adoption is called as she was a college graduate uh, and also unwed college graduate and was young. So that's why means what she decided to do, she decided to put the means writer, right? Put the writer for adoption. So the meaning of adoption is called as legally you are means allowing your child to hand over one of the parents, right? So she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates. So it means uh, the author's mother, the author's mother means wanted that. The author's mother wanted that whoever will take, whoever will take writer through legal, right? So he or she or they should be means literate enough. They should be gone to college. They should be means completed their school, right? So to them only, the author's mother decided to give her child through adoption. So she felt very strongly that means the writer should be adopted or the writer should be handed over to the couple or the parents who, who must be college graduates. So that is why everything was all set for the adoption. So everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his family. So as we can see that means writer's adoption writer's adoption was prepared, right? And a lawyer family, so a lawyer family or advocate and his wife who was ready to adopt the writer, except that when the writer popped out, so when the writer means came out, when the writer popped out or when the writer means came out or took birth. So they decided at the last minute. So they here referring to whom? Now they here referring to the lawyer and his wife, right? So the lawyer family decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So it means they changed their decision. So they wanted for a girl child, and as the writer was a baby boy, so they denied to take him. So, my parents who were on a waiting list. So, my parents means the writer was telling that actually the parents who took the writer through adoption, so they were in a queue, they were in a line. So, it means when the lawyer and his wife uh, denied that they wanted a girl child and they refused to take the baby, so the next couple or the next family, so who were on a waiting list, so they got a call in the middle of the night and were asked that they means we have an unexpected baby boy, do you want him? So they asked that means the writer's mother had an unexpected baby boy, whether they wanted or not. So they said, right, of course. So his biological mother later found out that his mother had never graduated from college and that his father had never graduated from high school. But again, the in the second family, right, had a one of the problem that what now his father and mother had not enough literate. It means mother had never graduated from college and father had never graduated from high school. So that is why this time writer's biological mother or actual mother, right, refused or denied to do what? Not denied to sign the final legal papers, right? Why she means refused or denied to sign the final adoption papers? Because she found that the couple who wanted to take the baby, so they were not graduated from college and not even graduated from high school. So that's why they refused it. That means they said no, right? Or means writer's actual mother said no, or biological mother said no. So, but after some days, or you can say that she finally she agreed. So relented. She only relented, or she only means agreed to sign the adoption paper after a few months later, when his parents promised writer's biological mother that they would send they would send the child to college. So when they promised or when they means make the promise before the biological mother that someday they would send the child to the college, so writer's biological mother agreed to agreed to agreed to sign the final adoption paper. Now, in this way, what happened? Finally, writer was adopted by H, means by father and mother or family. So now what happened next actually? When we look into the next one, And 17 years later, I did go to college. So he stated that like this way means uh, his birth took place and he was adopted, and after 17 years he went to college. But he also stated he naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. So what do you mean by naively? The meaning of naively is called as he was not known, he was not experienced, he was not, uh, you know, uh, expert choosing a college. And that college was as expensive as Stanford University. So, and he joined in a college which is very expensive. And all of his working class parents' savings were being spent on his college tuition. So the writer stated that how means he spent all his parents means money on where now on his college tuition, right? Studying in an expensive college, and after 6 months he dropped out from that college because he found or he could not see the value of his education. He had no idea what he wanted to do with his life. He did not get idea also how his college education was going to help him figure it out, right? So these are the things which came into his mind, and for which what he did, he left it, right? He left the college. So he discontinued his education. And here he was spending all of the money his parents had saved their entire life. He was spending all of the money his parents had saved their entire life. So studying in an expensive college. So what he did, he simply uh, spent all the money which his parents had saved in their life. So he decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out. So, therefore, what he did, he decided to drop out. So, and he believed that what? Now, dropping out from the college, college read, right? It would all work out. It would work out means what? When he looked himself at the present situation, he found that what? It was all okay. It was pretty scary at the time. Pretty scary. That's something called as when you take the decision, right? And you did not know what you are doing. So you found it's a somehow called as very um, fearful and very uh, afraid of a very afraid kind of a things, right? So he also stated it was pretty scary at the time. But looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So he said that when he was at the present and when he was looking back, right, looking to the past, he finds that what he made a very good decisions. The minute he dropped out, he could stop taking the required classes that did not interest him, and he began dropping in on the ones that he looked interested. So what he did after that? Now he dropped his uh, his college, and but actually what he did means he he dropped after 6 months, but his name was still there for the next 18 months, right? So he started, not to attend the classes, not to attend the classes means those of the classes where means he did not get any interest. He also started dropping, or he stopped going to those of the classes also where he gets the interest, right? So finally, or overally you can say that he stopped his education. So he stated that it was not all romantic. Why it was not all romantic? Because he pointed that he did not have a dorm room. Dorm room? What do you mean by dorm room? The meaning of dorm room is called as a place where he could get a sleep. So he slept on the floor in friends' rooms. So he decided to, as he left the college, he did not get the means hostel. He did not get a place to where he could get take the rest. So he slept on the floor in friends' room. Right. So he returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And he would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna table. So, like that, his means his journey went into difficult. So he stated that he returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposit. So for getting a food, so he has to sell the Coke bottles, right? And to get a very good meal to eat, so he has to go to 7 miles, right, to the place called Hare Krishna Temple every Sunday night. So he stated he loved it. When he recollected those moments, he felt like he really loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later. Now look into it. Whenever you make a decision, right, at the beginning of it, you find out the, you know, fear into it, fear into achieve it, right? But at the same time, the author stated that he follows, he listens his interest. He listened to the institution. Institution means inner, means a voice, and he took the decision. And because of taking the decision, that decision is called as a priceless. Priceless means which cannot be uh, valued, right? Or you cannot be said that which is not something which is unique, priceless, that cannot be sold. So he stated, let me give you an example. So he makes the students or make the readers uh, understand that how his decision, how his curiosity, listening to the curiosity means made him or gave him priceless or called as a unique that he was going to discuss in the next unit. So the next so the writer in the next unit stated about that what he gave the example. He stated that Reed College at that time, right? So he was discussing about the college where he stated Reed College at that time offered what? Now, Reed College means at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction. What do you mean by calligraphy? So the meaning of calligraphy is called as a handwritten design, right? Or handwriting design or letter design, right? So Reed College at that time offered the beautiful handwriting design, right? Handwriting design instruction in the country. And throughout the campus, throughout the college campus, every poster, every level on every drawer, right, was beautifully hand calligraphed. Hand calligraphed means handwritten design was means published and decorated or beautifully means made it and also fixed onto it. So it is stated that means because he had dropped out and he did not have to take normal classes, so what he did, he decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. So he decided that what means he would go for the calligraphy classes, right? So he learned about serif and sans serif typefaces. What do you mean by serif and sans serif? The meaning of serif and sans serif is called as a one of the font of the computer, one of the later design, right? So, and the meaning of typeface is called as a font of the later. So he stated he learned about serif and sans serif, a later design that we normally find out in our personal computer or called as a means, when you open the Microsoft Word, you will find out the kind of a later design. So he learned those of the serif and sans serif typefaces or boldfaces or called as a later design about varying the amount of space between different letter combination. So in that serif and sans serif boldfaces or typefaces, he learned varieties or numerous uh, different type of what letter combination, right? About what makes great typography great. So typography means computer letter design. So he learned those of the letter combination. He learns how the letter design make the computer great. It was beautiful. The writer stated that the letter design course, or called as a typography, was beautiful, historical, and also means artistically, means beautifully, right? Small or and also unique design that actually science cannot capture, or people means do not have any idea of it. And he stated that he found that this later design or computer later design is attracting one, right? Fascinating means attractive. So he stated that one of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. So when we talk about this particular uh, handmade letter design, or called as a computer letter design, so the author stated that he had not he did not have any hope of any practical application in his life. He learnt that calligraphy, he learnt that typography, but he did not think to use it practically in his life, right? When he learnt it. But 10 years later, when they were designing the first Macintosh computer, 10 years later means after 10 years, when the writer and writer's friend and writer's employees were designing or making the beautiful or first Macintosh computer. Macintosh computer means that's called as a MacBook, or called as a PC, personal computer, or laptop. It all came back to him. So, and while he was designing, or while they were designing the computer, so they put this typography into this. Or typography means that uh, later design, computer later design into this Macintosh computer. So it all came back to me, and we designed it all into the Mac. So they put all those beautiful later designing into the Mac. The author stated it was the first computer with a beautiful typography. So Macintosh computer was the first computer where this later designing was included. He stated that if he had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. Now that's it is true. Like imagine that if he did not take the decision of dropping out from that college and joining in that single course, then Mac would have never had multiple designing, multiple bold faces, multiple later designing with or proportionally spaced fonts. Means appropriate means difference in, or appropriate means spaced given in the fonts cannot be made it. Is not it? So he stated that because of his dropping out from the college, so means Mac got such beautiful design. So, but while he was discussing all those things, he also discovered one of the secret. What did he say? that he stated that Mac got beautiful typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts, but at the same time, since Windows just copied the Mac, Windows just copied the Mac means Windows copied the typefaces that Mac used in its computer. It is possibly that no personal computer would have them. It means if Microsoft or Windows, if my Windows did not copy that typefaces from the Mac, then if all the other personal computer would not have got those typefaces or those later designing, right? It means Mac would be the only computer who would have got such typefaces, right? So the author stated if he had never dropped out, he would have never dropped in on this calligraphy class. And personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. So he was telling that means the decision he took was okay at present. Why? Now, because if he did not take the decision of quitting or dropping out from the college, he would not, uh, you know, he would not get the opportunity of using wonderful typography in his Mac. And of course, the author stated that it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward. Yes, you cannot means make your link to the future by standing at the present because future is uncertain, future is unsure, future is something imaginary, right? So you cannot connect the link to the future. You cannot determine by saying that uh, in future what you would be, right, and what you are sure will be, right. But if you look at the present situation and looking back, looking to the past, you can say that your present is because of your past. So whatever you did in the past, so that reflected in a result in the present. So that is why connect you can connect the dots simply by looking at the past but not into the future. So that's what he stated. It was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when he was in college. He did not even think that he dropped out from his college and he would learn calligraphy and how that calligraphy would help him in the future. But when he was at the present situation, it was very, very clear looking backward 10 years later. When he was in the present situation and when he looked at the, he recollected or he remembered the uh, means, past, right, after 10 years, so he found that how his decisions were helpful and how his decisions uh, were considered unique, right? So that's what he stated. Again, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust, you have to believe. The author stated that you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. So dots means what? Now, you it means you believe yourself that whatever you are doing, whatever you are means proposing or plan, right, that will definitely connecting to the future, right. So how? Now, because like look at the author and look at ourselves also, whatever we are doing it, right, means we are doing it for the future or not, right? But at the same time, what happened? We are not sure whether we able to do it or not. But at the same time, the author is means suggesting or advising that what you have to trust in yourself, right? You cannot. It is impossible to connect the dots into the future, but we can means we can believe in ourselves, We have to trust in means ourselves. So trust in something which is present in us, like you can say your guts, destiny, life, karma, and all those things. He stated that these are the things on which we need to believe that whatever we are doing, it will definitely help us in in our future, right? And that you may not see at present, but when you means look into the back, you will definitely find out. So the author stated, this approach has never let me down. It means he stated that he's believing his guts, he's believing his destiny, he's believing his life, karma, right? All these things, right, help him a lot. Never let him down, never make him insulted, may never make him uh, degrade, right? Never make him means offend, never means make him uh, you know felt, and it has made all the difference in his life, and that is the reason why his life is different from others. So by saying this, he completed his first unit where he discusses about his birth, and he discusses means about his college life. He also discusses means his philosophical belief, right? That how it helps to grow in his life or difference in his life. Now, moving to the next one, the next story that is called as his second story. The author stated that his second story is about love and loss. What is that love and loss? So he stated that what he was lucky that he found what he loved to do early in his life. So you find out a name is given Woz. Who is Woz? Now Woz is called as Wozniak. So he stated Wozniak and he started Apple in his parents' garage when he was 20 years old, right? And he stated means they worked hard, right? So now look into it means how the author's journey, right, started here. He stated that he loved the technology a lot, and he started that by saying that how did he start his technology, right? He stated he and his friend whose name is called as a Wozniak, right? So they started the company in his in writer's parents' garage when he was 20 years old. They worked hard, and in 10 years, what happened? The company had grown from just the two of us in a garage into $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. It means he started the company with you can say that two people, and somehow called as in at the age of 20 years, right? And after 10 years that particular company, right, means turning into $2 billion company, and somehow called as a 4,000 employees were working. The author stated that how they had just released their finest creation, their beautiful manufacturing product, which is called as a Macintosh. So, what is that Macintosh? Macintosh is a computer, laptop, right? So, and a year earlier, what happened? Now, the author stated he had just turned 30. It means at the age of 20 years, he started the company. And when he had just turned 30 years, right? So, his company turns $2 billion company with 4,000 employees, and they created the beautiful creation that's called as a Macintosh. And he stated, then he got fired. Now, this is called as a shocking news. Like he created the company, so he was the founder of that company, And means after 10 years, when he got 30, right, he got fired. Fired means he was thrown out of the company. So he was making a simple, a surprising question, that how can you get fired from a company that you started? You started a company and you yourself was fired. How? Well, the author gave the reason for it. He stated that as Apple grew, they hired someone who thought was very talented to run the company with him. He stated that how means he recruited one of the person, right, who was very talented and who could take the company to uh, you know to get the fame, right? So who was very talented to run the company, to continue or to stay with the company and make the company proud with the writer. And for the first year, what happened means in the first year, so writer and that person had a very good understanding, right? So they both also uh, means they both also understand to each other very well. But then after first year, or somehow called as after a year, or after couple of years, right, passed. So then after, their visions, their goals, their purpose, their plans, right, turn different, right? So then our vision of the future began to diverge. Diverge means separated. So the future goals of the both of the person, the writer as well as the writer recruited person, right, were different. And finally, so they had a falling out. Falling out means there is a conflict turned up between them. So they made means they dissatisfy on each other's performance and work. And when they did means when the writer and means a writer's recruited person had a conflict. So at the same time, when they did, our boards of directors. So when they did means what? Now when the falling out occurred, our board of directors sided with him. Board of directors means all the other employees of the company support the whom? Support that person. And so at 30, the author was removed from the company. So when all the other employees took side of him, so they means throw out the author, and very publicly out. Very publicly out means in front of his company, he was insulted and he was thrown out of the company before the employees. What had been the focus of his entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. So, whatever the vision he saw throughout his life, or whatever the focus he had been through his young age, right, all was gone, and it was devastating. So, the meaning of devastating is called also. So, the author had nothing. The author had nothing to, utilize. The author was destroyed. So, his company, his his position, all were gone. The author really did not know what to do for a few months, right? So after throwing out from the company, so he did not know what to do for a few months. So he felt that he had allowed the previous generation of entrepreneurs down. So like the people from where he learned, or from whom he learned, the people from whom means the author learned all those things about the business. So the author found out that what now he made them down, right? So those of the previous generation of entrepreneurs or business people uh, to whom he made down, that he had dropped the battle, he had lost the challenge, he had you know, lost the challenge that was given to him by by the previous generation of business people. So the author stated he met with David Packard and Bob Noyce. Now, who are they? Now, they were also means they were the means board of directors or the employees of that company. And author tried to ask for the forgiveness or apologize. The author means ask apology to David Packard and Bob Noyce. What do you mean by apologize? The meaning of apologize is called as asking for forgiveness, right? For screwing up so badly. So why did he apologize? Now he apologized or he asked for forgiveness for insulting them so badly. The author insulted David Packard and Bob Noyce, and for which he asked for apology to them, right? But he was, and I was a very public failure. So the author thought also he was very public failure. Very public failure means that he did not have that ability to attract, motivate, and support, right? The means the employees. So that is why he stated that he was a very public failure. And he even thought about running away from the valley. So he could not face the people. He also even thought to means, leave leave that city, leave that valley, right? But something slowly began to dawn on me. Dawn on me means immediately he realized something. Something came out on his mind. What was that? Now he realized that what now he still loved what he did. He still loved means whatever means he was doing. He knew those of the things and he loved to do those of the things. So that is why means the turn of events, even losing of Apple or throwing out of the Apple company had not changed that one bit. It means you may lose everything, but you may not lose the skills, the knowledge you have. And the author thought the same, that knew about the knowledge, he knew of all those skills, right? And he could use those of the things, and he loved also. So, and removing from Apple or losing the job from Apple did not change that. So the author uh, had been rejected, but he was still in love. The author had been rejected means author had been thrown from the company. Yet he was still in love with the means, technology which through he started the company and made the company. So what he decided to do, he decided to start over. Start over means start again. He decided to start again. He decided to make the means use his knowledge and his begin a new business, right? So this clearly indicating that means how the writer got a lot of difficulties and problem in his life, right? Despite having those of the problems, despite having uh, those of the situation, how did he continue? That we will find out. Okay, we will discuss this in our next video, right? uh, and we will continue where we left it. So please stay in touch with us. Thank you.